The city of Vharanor lay draped beneath a thin curtain of rain, not the heavy, thunderous kind that scours filth from the cobblestones, but the whispering drizzle that glazes every surface in quiet sheen. The high towers of the rose citadel shimmered with light, their brass edges glinting like molten gold beneath the dying sun. Steam hissed from vent pipes along the ramparts, mingling with the fragrance of soaked lilacs that clung to the palace gardens. Through those golden halls strode Kael, the Empress's sworn protector. His uniform, trimmed with polished brass buckles, bore the faint patina of years spent in service. His boots clicked against the inlaid marble, passing portraits of past rulers whose gazes seemed to follow him, silent witnesses to the coming storm. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with the look of a soldier tempered by loyalty rather than ambition. The left side of his face bore a thin scar, a relic of a battle fought long before the citadel's peace. He carried no weapon drawn, for the Empress trusted him above all. And that trust was sacred. Inside the throne atrium, the Empress awaited. Slender, robed in midnight silk that shimmered faintly when she moved. Beside her stood Princess Mira, a girl of perhaps 12, holding a brass automaton bird in her hands, its wings twitching gently as if sensing the tension in the air. Kael bowed low. "Your Radiance," he said, "the western walls are secured." The guild envoys arrived an hour past, though I don't trust the men they travel with. The Empress's lips curved faintly, though weariness dulled her eyes. "You never do, Kael," she murmured. "But tonight, let us hope diplomacy serves better than suspicion." The doors opened. 6 envoys entered, 5 barons and 1 silent stranger at their center. The stranger's presence chilled the air. His coat was dark as iron, his gloves too fine for a mere mercenary. His hair, silver at the edges, gleamed in the lamplight. This was Drax, bodyguard to Baron Fell, or so the rumors said. Kael's eyes met his, and for a brief moment he felt something wrong. The man's shadow lingered even when he moved, as if delayed by some unseen current. The Empress extended a hand of welcome. "My lords, I pray this council marks the beginning of reason." But it would not. The discussion began civilly. Trade tariffs, ether rationing, the unrest in the workers' districts. Yet beneath every word hung venom. Lady Kor, veiled in crimson silk, whispered about the burden of weak leadership. Baron Fell pressed his heavy palms on the table, arguing for militarized law. Count Valen merely smiled, fingers tapping on his cane like a ticking clock. Then came the silence, the brief, unnatural pause before violence. Drax moved. It was elegant, deliberate, horrifyingly smooth. A single glide forward, his hand flashing from beneath his coat. Kael saw the gleam of silver. A knife? No. Too bright. Too fast. And the blade slit through the air like lightning. The Empress gasped, her words severed. A ribbon of blood bloomed against her throat, glistening red over the silk. Kael lunged, sword drawn in an instant, but the hall exploded into chaos. 2 of Drax's accomplices drew twin sabers, intercepting him with clanging strikes. Their eyes were marked by strange glowing sigils on their necks, faint, shifting symbols pulsing like veins of light. When they fought, Kael noticed, their movements mirrored Drax's, as though one mind controlled them all. "No!" Kael roared, driving one back with a vicious kick that sent him sprawling into a pillar. Sparks burst where steel met marble. The automaton bird fell, its brass wings clattering across the floor. Mira screamed. Drax looked up at Kael, expression unreadable, a trace of regret or mockery in his eyes. "Forgive me, Protector," he said softly. "It is not your fault. You were simply too loyal." And with a flicker of dark light, he and his marked assassins vanished, blinking across the rooftops beyond the open balcony. Their silhouettes dissolved into the mist, leaving behind only the stench of burning ozone. The Empress lay still. Her eyes were open, glassy and unseeing. Kael dropped to his knees beside her. His gloves pressed into her blood, trembling. Mira was gone. The balcony curtains still fluttered where she'd been dragged into the night. Footsteps thundered behind him. The watch, rushing in with rifles raised. At their head stood Baron Fell, face twisted in feigned shock. "Arrest him!" Fell shouted. "The traitor has murdered the Empress." Kael's protests were drowned by the roar of boots and iron grips. He was disarmed, struck across the face, and dragged through the corridors he'd once patrolled as guardian. Outside, rain poured harder, washing away the Empress's blood, carrying it down the marble steps and into the gutters below. Days blurred in the blackness of the Bastion prison. Kael heard nothing but the clang of doors, the hiss of steam pipes, the muttering of other broken men. When he slept, he dreamed of Mira, her terrified eyes, her voice calling his name. Then came the night of the storm. Thunder split the sky above the Bastion. Water poured through cracks in the ceiling, flooding the lower corridors. Guards shouted, torches drowned. Kael seized his chance, striking one down with a rusted chain, forcing open a hatch that led downward. He fell. Into darkness, into cold, into water that glowed faintly blue from leaking ether conduits. His body struck stone, his lungs filled with water, and the world went silent. When his eyes opened, Kael was no longer in the Bastion. He stood on an endless expanse of dark water, the stars inverted above him. Time itself seemed slow. From the horizon, something approached. A shape, tall and slender, shifting like smoke and shadow. "Kael Vharik," it whispered, voice both near and infinite. "You have been robbed of purpose, but purpose can be returned, for a price." Kael's heart thundered. "Who are you?" "I am the echo between your breaths," the entity said, "the murmur in your guilt. Take my mark, and I shall unshackle you from the laws of your world." A black hand extended, made not of flesh, but of rippling void. Kael hesitated, then reached out. The mark burned into his palm, a sigil of impossible geometry, faintly glowing blue, threads of light running up his veins. The water around him rippled outward, swallowing the stars, the sky, the voice. He awoke, gasping, half submerged in a flooded underpass beneath the prison. The mark pulsed once, faintly illuminating the walls, and the air shimmered. For a brief second, he saw the world differently, echoes of movement, traces of guards above, the path forward laid bare. He understood what he must do: escape, survive, and when he was ready, avenge the Empress.